Hello and welcome to Just a Little Bit. And this is just like we call it, Just a Little Bit. And Just a Little Bit is brought to you in part by Destination Trump, Broward County Cultural Division, Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Just a Little Bit is coming to you from the heart of Trump, 6th Street as we call it, where it's all good in the hood. This week's Just a Little Bit brings you news from several black sources from throughout the African diaspora. And this week's Just a Little Bit, one of the things that caught my attention is here in Broward County, the teacher uses the N-word and she's returning back to the classroom. We received a letter from one of the techs from Cross Creek School, which is a behavior school here in Broward County. And the letter starts off by saying, I'm writing this letter regarding a very degrading incident which occurred on November 13, 2020 at Cross Creek School. A teacher was observed by myself and 3 other staff members and 2 students yelling these words, nigger, 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 multiple times in the classroom. Now you can read more about this story in the Westside Gazette. Also in this week's paper, we have the Reuben Stacy story. A lot of people just look at Reuben Stacy as another black man being hung in the United States. But Mr. Stacy was more than just a vagrant and a passerby. Read more about that in this week's paper, which will be a series, both written and documented. So check that out. The pandemic update. Wow, this thing is still creeping and growing and refining itself. So much so that the vaccinations will soon be available for every adult in Florida and the U.S. Wow, it says that this variant strain of COVID is one of the more resilient ones that, is taking no prisoners. Even though the case numbers are going up, thank God, deaths are going down. A heavily armed Texas man, 31-year-old Paul Murray, targets Vice President Kamala Harris. Read about that. They found a lot of weaponry on this Paul Murray fellow, right around the corner from Kamala. Boy, I tell you, people are really getting out of hand. Black mom, former inmate who won a grant from Beyonce, expands children's underwear line. That's a very interesting story. Yolanda Perkins, founder and CEO of Undies by Blendatone, a line of underwear for children of color, has become, has overcome a lot of obstacles in her life. She has transformed herself from being an incarcerated person in prison to a successful entrepreneur. 15-year-old black girl, a high school senior, wins a global math competition. This young lady, Faith O'Ducey, she bested contestants from many countries around the world, including the US, China, and Australia. Right on, sister, with your smart self. In a disappointing news story, the Florida Republicans are trying to consider, or are considering, or have passed a bill similar to that in Georgia, where you can't even give water to people who are standing in line to vote in the hot sun of Florida. What is this world coming to? People of the cloth, our pastors and our rabbis and people of the clergy continue to be on the forefront fighting our battles. So let's say right on to Reverend Barber, Dr. Ben Shavis, and all of the other preachers, pastors, and rabbis who are in the struggle. Thank you. 40 on the 40. 40 on the 40 is 40 seconds of black history, greatness, struggles, and strength, and overcoming of black people. And this week's 40 on the 40 is a young lady. Her name is Nije Graham Henrys. She's the world's youngest female barber. 8-year-old Nije started cutting hair after learning that her older brother took on a barber's class in North Philadelphia. Though she is still in training, the younger barber will make sure your lineup is in the game and strong. Welcome back to Just a Little Bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sankofa moment. Sankofa means to go back to the past, to fetch and to bring forth. It's from the Twa language that comes from Ghana. And this week's guest we have with us, Brother Daryl Hope. Daryl has a very interesting story, and we're going to share just a little bit of that with you. So join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Daryl Hope. Welcome, Mr. Hope, and what's happening, man?
What's going on, brother?
You know, Daryl, you are a very interesting person. You know, I know we chose the Sankofa moment to talk about some past things and bring it to the future. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Daryl.
Well, my name is Daryl Hope. I was born here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Most people around here know me as Hope. Other brothers who know me outside of Fort Lauderdale while incarcerated over the last 30 years call me Brother Daryl. Some call me Hope, some call me Slim, some just call me plain Hope.
You know, Daryl, one thing that I know about you from 30 plus years ago, you know,
Yes,
we have created a relationship where you have written articles for the West Side Gazette.
Yes, sir.
Even in your confinement, you know, you didn't let that stop. What motivated you, man? For 30-something years, how did you survive?
Well, being in that environment, being incarcerated for something I know I didn't do, and seeing what was going on in that environment, I know I didn't want to succumb to that environment. I didn't want to be a part of that environment. There's an old saying that you can become a product of the environment, right? If the environment overcomes you. I made it my mission not to be overcome by that environment, the prison environment. I knew that it was a lot going on. I knew that a lot of these things was planned, right? I know a lot of these things was pre-planned, right? I know a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters that are incarcerated, right, found themselves overcome by the prison system, right? Overcome by the creativity of destruction within the prison system. A lot of people don't understand that most of us that have relatives that are incarcerated, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, our fathers, our uncles, our children, right? A lot of them, they really want out of prison, but they don't know how to get out. There are opportunities there for them, but there are other opportunities that keep them busy, keep them doing other things instead of things which need to be done. I put in my mind, after reading book after book after book, I had become accustomed, right? I had become an addict, sort of like being an alcoholic, sort of like being on drugs. I had become an addict of reading. I would run to child and come back to read. I would go to work and come back to read. I would go work out and come back to read. I would duck my friends and come back and read. I wanted to read everything about Black history. I wanted to know how was it that once upon a time that we was told that we was kings and queens, right? And we have become so low. I learned through reading the African culture. I learned from reading about my sisters. I learned from reading about my brothers. I learned from reading about my community that a lot of things we told was lies, right? To keep them ahead. I also learned that while we take the time out to rest, they had a shift running at night. When we took the time out to play, they had a shift running in the day. When we started working and wanted to work for 8 hours just to make ends meet, they had a shift running. While we was resting and while we was playing, they had 2 additional shifts to our 1 shift. So while we was complaining about what they was doing to us, that's the thing with a survivor to them. It's an old saying that keep that cradle rocking, right? And if you stop that cradle from rocking, the baby wakes up. So, in using that term, I would say that they kept that cradle rocking, meaning they kept providing us with things, put sport in play, events. When we tried to host programs, like History Month program, when we tried to host Rastafarian programs, when we tried to host enlightenment program, education program, think tanks, legal classes, classes of development, motivational classes, church studies, Bible studies, right? They always had events that would pull a majority of the population the other way. They would steer them and guide them and direct them the other way to keep them from becoming conscious and aware, to keep us from unifying, right? Because they know that their life depended on it, right? So
let me do this there. Let me do this. You know, some of the achievements that you have earned, you know, while being tucked away. You know, how are you using that today? I know what you did on the inside. Your legal prowess. You know.
Well, I got out on New Year's Day. I was released from one facility, from federal custody on April 10, 2020. I was taken from state custody and I was released from custody on New Year's Day. So that was like a spiritual birth, right? To be gone and given back a life sentence after 31 years, nearly 31 years, to come home on New Year's Day was like a new life, a new beginning. So I took it upon myself to pull back, right, and acknowledge everything that I had been working on over the past 30 years to bring to tuition. But first, I knew I had to stop to get to know my family, to get to know my community, to build and to gather my ties with my community so I can go on forward. So in doing it, so I accomplished, first thing I had to do was get all my legal paperwork together. I went and got my identification first, right? 'Cause I didn't want to be stopped, right? I went and got my driver's license. So I would be stopped from driving so I could get around like I want to get around. I had family members and I had others to support me with my clothing, right, with place to stay and stuff like that. So I was able to eventually over the last few months, right, to save money up and start a business, which I've started recently, right? Get my clothes, open up my accounts, do a lot of positive things. I'm in the process of writing as I was doing, you know, saying, while incarcerated, participate in the other program while I'm out now so I can get back to the youth. I have what they call a youth encouragement program called Hope Impact Youth and Development Program. It's a 10-point plan I put together while incarcerated because we had a lot of youth programs. A lot of kids out here, females, young females, as well as males, right, was left without a father. So we had these classes in prison called Father Behind Bars, YES program, youth encouragement programs, right, that help and support the kids. There's a lot going on out here with our children, and a lot of parents don't know, a lot of grandparents don't know how to approach them, right, how to deal with them, right. They won't help, but they don't know how to actually help, right? Because most don't think they know everything. But I'm using my program and my platform to let them know that we are here for them if they want the help.
Let's do this, Daryl.
Yes, sir.
You know, like there are a lot of brothers that need to hear you.
Yes, sir.
There, you know, I mean, so I just want us to give a little bit because you coming back. We're gonna see if we can create a series that we can talk, you know, have people. I'm serious.
Yes, sir.
This is needed. So I don't want, you know, you and me, we kick it if you
I
will.
got
Yeah. But there's some seriousness. I mean, he holding his hand up for us to cut it down. But there's some seriousness about you and your conversation that we really need to get an audience to hear. So, Mr. Hope, I want to invite you to come back. We're going to get more into your 10-point plan.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get more into your writing. We're going to get more into what you're doing as a family,
Yes,
with your daughter
yes,
and her programs, because it's going to take a family to actually bring us out from where we are.
That's right.
So give me a closing statement of if you had, let me do this way. If you could talk to a young person, a young male, black male, hustler on the streets, trying to take care of his family. If you had 30 seconds with him, what could you tell him to try to knock us in, to scare him straight, or to put him on the right path in 30 seconds?
Well, in 30 seconds, I would tell him, which I have recently spoken to several youth, right, relatives, other relatives that had kids. They wanted me to talk to them young men, right, and some females too. That man, selling drugs, hanging out, around individuals that selling drugs, doing other things that we'll see in the prison. That prison is no place, man, for you. Right? That if you got opportunity now where you got anything positive that you want to do in life, start now. Work on that now, right? Pull away from that lifestyle, right? And do the right thing, man, and go for your goals.
I can say Daryl Hope was innocent and did 30, how many years?
31.
Yeah, and he was innocent. So it took him 31 years to gain his freedom from a crime he did not commit. So I just want to say thank you very much, Mr. Hope.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be back so we can talk some more.
I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, brother. I mean that from the strength.
I will be back.
All right. Okay, welcome back to Just a Little Bit. We have some very interesting conversations, and sometimes when you engage in interesting conversation, it pulls something from you. So you have to regroup to come back and try to regain your composure to get ready for the next segment. And in this segment, What's Up? This is our community segment where we have folk from the community to come in and talk about what they're doing in the community and how they are bringing access and things to the community that will benefit the community. And our next guest, being a Superman that he is, he'll tell you about an experience he had that changed his life. But I called him Mr. Waterman. Our next guest, please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Ken Roland. Okay, what's going on, Mr. Roland?
I'm doing well.
I could have you on several segments of this program, from a historical aspect, your family, you. I mean, you can come from any angle. But what has my interest is that accident that almost took your life.
Wow. That was quite a turning point. Actually, that point in my life, November 1980, I'll never forget it. I was in the backseat of a car, and we were coming back from Homestead to Google's down in the shed. And we were having some fun with some friends, and I fell asleep. I had pneumonia and didn't know it, and so I got sick. And so that kind of ruined our night. And I did a world famous, I was on the dance floor, and my stomach was rumbling. I'm dancing with this beautiful young lady. And I did my world famous Michael Jackson turn, and I spewed the whole crowd because I was sick. But needless to say, my friend, my cousin, Tim, Don Timothy James, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim said, "You ruined it, you're blowing it for us, man." And so we all got in the car and we started laughing about it, and I fell asleep in the back seat. And the moment I fell asleep is when a car ran off the road and hit a disabled car and knocked that onto the highway, and we hit that car like a brick wall, and I was thrown in between the seat and the door. So my face went in between the seat and the door and ripped my face off. I woke up in the hospital, and after a 4-hour surgery. So the last thing I remember was us joking and me falling asleep. And then I wake up and I notice I'm looking around. I'm like, I kind of felt that, wow, I must be dreaming or something. I look around and I see all these white people dressed in white.
Thought you went to hell?
Yeah, I said, man, I done died and went to the wrong way. So So then I see this guy in green, and he says, welcome to the world of the living. He says, my name is Dr. McCain. I'm very good at what I do, and you've just been in an automobile accident, and we just reconstructed your face. 7 days from now, you're going to have the real reconstructive surgery, which was estimated to be 5 hours, and ended up being 15 hours. And in that 15-hour surgery, I had the near-death experience where you see the light and all of that sort of stuff. And I was told what I was supposed to do. I was told that the reason why I was good at swimming because I needed swimming in order to get my body back right. And I'm going to use the medium of swimming then to save people's lives. And so I just started walking and going down to the neighborhood pool, Sunland Park Pool, the mother pool, and started back. And long story short, I became the first African-American male in charge of a white beach patrol. And now I own my own company, and we started a program called Swim Central, where we have trained 650,000 people how to swim. Not one child has drowned out of that 650,000. So,
and that's to be commended. Wow, kid. You named somebody that I was very fond of. We share the duties of lifeguard at Bass Pool.
right.
Your cousin.
That's right.
You come from a family of swimmers. Moby.
That's right.
God, man, I didn't really realize that until you called his name. So life-saving has been a part of your life. And the fact that you're continuing to expand and to give back through aquatics. When folk tell you black folk don't swim, how does that grate you?
Oh, it grades me quite a bit because for thousands of years, we were the greatest swimmers on the planet. Then along comes this thing called slavery, right? And tried to steal away that legacy from us. But being in our family, I mean, from the age of 2, they threw me in the water. You know how we did back then. They throw you in the water and say, boy, you better swim. And you make it to the wall, you're okay. But, some people, that was a deterrent, and it stopped them. And so that's one of the things that I learned being a swimming instructor. And that was the thing. There are a lot of glass ceilings that stop for us in the field of aquatics. And so I just wanted to make sure that I teach the whole world how to swim, especially, one stroke at a time right here in Broward County.
And your historical points, man. Come on, tell us something about them, man. And I know being at the Hall of Fame and the first Black Life, tell us, okay, let me do this. And I don't want to just dwell on the negative stuff, but being a black lifeguard on the beach, what was one of the most degrading things that am I walking up the wrong tree?
No. I just had a flashback of memory of when you said that. I remember I was sitting on the lifeguard stand, and these Caucasian boys were out there playing, and I'm blowing my whistle, telling them to come in because they were too far out and all that stuff, and they're flipping me off, and I'm getting a little upset. I'm blowing the whistle, go down to the edge, and they come up, and and they started, oh man, you only got this job because of affirmative action. And I'm like, man, I can beat any of these cats out here swimming, And it's that sort of thing. You don't get a whole lot of respect, especially in the field of aquatics, because there's not a whole lot of us there. And, so people always have their biases and preconceived notions about blacks when it comes to swim. Like, I'm an accomplished swimming instructor. And so when I go to some people's houses and they hear me on the phone, I have the Purdue education, and I can talk that talk. But, when I walk in the door, they see that I'm not how I sound. So those preconceived notions come into play where they wonder, well, how can I teach their son how to swim when everybody knows blacks can't swim, right? And so, but that was one of the things that kind of grated me a lot. And then the other thing, too, is that you could do, I have all of these initials behind my name.
Yes, you do.
And it didn't matter how many initials that I had on my name. It didn't matter if I was the guy in the collared shirt, not the T-shirt. They still would talk to the white person who was someone that reported to me rather than coming to me, you know. So there's always challenges, but the thing is, you have to deal with those things one stroke at a time, one person at a time. Everybody isn't that way, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, you know, Ken, I can honestly say that there are certain people who have this persona, you know, that they can get along with anybody, and you elude that. So for me to ask that question, it causes me to ask you another question.
Mm-hmm.
What was one of the most remarkable, rewarding experiences that you had the privilege of being a part of as a black aquatic specialist, if you will?
Well, actually, one of the things that really has impacted me was in 2012. I was given the G. Harold Martin Award, and the G. Harold Martin is a prolific judge around here who started the International Swimming Hall of Fame, and he also caused the Sonan Park pool to be built as well. He said, well, we have to do something for the folks on the other side of the track. And I was just appalled at how in his older age, he started a thing called Every Child a Swimmer. And in his older age, a lot of people were just, you know, he wanted to really make a difference. A lot of people were just saying, oh, that's just the old guy, or whatever. So I looked at him and I said, I'm going to make your dream come true. And that's when we started the Every Child a Swim program in Pompano Beach, where one of the things that really saddened me was one of the kids that went to Sanders Park Elementary drowned in the canal right there going along the railroad track because they walk around on that track and fell into the water. And that was like 400 yards away from the Mitchell Moore Pool or West Side Pool, or now it's called the Houston Swan Aquatic Center. And so I was asked to come over there and do a water safety presentation, and I fell in love with all the kids. And so I decided then that I was going to make every one of those kids a swimmer. And that's what we did. And that was the beginning of the Every Child a Swimmer program, which became the Swim Central program. And so that was one of the most proudest moments when then I got the G. Harold Martin Award in 2012. And I'm awarded by the International Swimming Hall of Fame, so you can Google me, and my name's in the International Swimming Hall of Fame because of that. So that's a very proud moment. But also, you know, the hits keep coming, and that's the great thing. 2020, I am the African American Achiever in the category of business with my company, CPR, etc.
Tell me about that company, man, that CPR, etc.
So CPR, etc. is a training company, and we teach life-saving skills to the community. We bring life-saving skills to you, to your community. And so in any aspect of that, CPR, first aid, choking, water safety, you know, you could become a first responder. We help people also transition into jobs that have aquatic base. Like, for example, if you wanted to be a police officer, you have to know how to swim. And so we started a program called the SMART program, and that's where we also got firefighters involved in that too. So everything is cyclic in that it comes back around to swimming. Everything came back around to swimming as far as how I wanted to help the community.
Very good. Now, how can a person get in contact with you to be a part of, or to get your services, or to be a part of what you do?
Well, we do have a prolific website, and our website is www.cpretc.org. Once again, cpretc.org. And our phone number is 954-529-8354.
Do that in your radio voice.
Whoa.
No, okay. Is there anything that we missed that you want to let us know, let the listeners know?
Well, you know, of course, you know, I'm born and raised right here in South Florida. I'm a musician. I was on tour with the Temptations, and I had a lot of I played with the East Wind Band. I played with a band called Asante. I also played with the Larry Dog Band, and we have a Frankie Beverly and Mays tribute. And my new project now is the Kenny Roland Project featuring Larry Dog. And so we're going to be doing a lot more things as far as South Florida with music and drowning prevention and community outreach, all the things.
So not only would it be smoke on the water, it's going to be some music on the water.
That's right, that's right. You know, we're going to do it one stroke at a time.
One stroke at a time. Mr. Roland, it's a pleasure, man.
It's always a fun, pleasing pleasure to be with my brother.
Yeah, you know, they don't know this, but you just came out of the hospital, man.
Yes. You know what?
You were just here when Erica was on. I'm saying, I just seen this brother. Okay, God is good.
God is good all the time.
All the time.
And so look at me, I'm walking around.
I'm serious. Yeah. There's still work for you to do.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roland. Yes, my heart goes out to the family members of George Floyd and to his friends and sympathizers. Yes, we want justice. Yes, we want to be recognized for our humanness and our compassion. Yes, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Are we to stop, or are we to continue to forge on by any means necessary to obtain those unalienable rights? We will go to the ends of legitimacies, even though our spirit tells us to circumvent it and go straight to the quick to get our justice. Nevertheless, we fight on. There are more than one kind of oppressors killing me to the next that we need to address. Why do we spend our money and support those businesses who don't support or respect us? So many times we look at the news and we ride through our black communities and we see places that are deplorable in their conditions. And they allow illegal, disrespectful things to happen on their premises. And we don't say or do a damn thing to try to stop it. I am appalled even more at a news story that I saw on Channel 10 recently, where a young black sister, 19 years old, recorded an incident at Quick Stop Rims and Tires, 3091 Northwest 19th Street in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's on the corner of 31st Avenue and 19th Street. Sterlia Dormices went to return a tire that was the wrong size. She said she asked if she could get her money back. And the guy with the gun said no and threatened to damage her car if she didn't give him the tire she purchased and more money. The guy said he was going to break her window if she didn't take the tire out of her car because he was the boss. If any of you black men have seen this video, how can we sit idly by and watch our sister be disrespected and our brothers who are perhaps being manipulated because of their addiction to drugs and alcohol be used as puppets to do the orchestrated work of a menace to our society, as this operator did when he told a do-boy to break her window? These oppressive knees on our necks is an extension to deep-rooted racism and communicable self-hate, akin to a powder keg waiting to ignite civil unrest in this country. Brothers and sisters, we have to stop this madness one way or another. It is extremely difficult for anybody to put their knee on your neck when you were standing tall with your head held high. Mama told us that a long time ago, to walk tall and straight with your head up, and you ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. Just a Little Bit is brought to you in part by Destination Sistrunk, Broward County Cultural Division, and Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. Destination Sistrunk is a door to explore black history, heritage in Greater Fort Lauderdale. For more information, visit www.destinationsistrunk.com. And remember, it's all good in the hood.